Hello everyone, my name is TF Calvin. I did my master's in English literature from Christu Jayanti College, Bangalore. I would like to thank Navrachni University for providing me this chance to present my paper in the international conference. The title of my paper is Democratic Journalism, a possible solution to post-truth reportage in Bastar. Objectives of the paper. The paper will attempt to identify the incidence of ignored news as a post-truth crisis in Bastar along with fake news. It will study the working of CG as a democratic media outlet. It will shed light on democratic journalism or citizenship journalism as a possible solution to the post-truth crisis. Review of literature. The Burning Forest, India's War in Bastar, Nandini Sundar. The Death Script, Dreams and Delusions in Naxal Country, Ashutosh Bharadwaj. Disrupting Journalism Ethics, Radical Change on the Frontier of Digital Media, Stephen Bott. I've also reviewed and read several other articles and watched videos too. Methodology, a detailed analysis of the literature available on the topic, a detailed analysis of surveys conducted by CG Network. It is very difficult to define post-truth. There are many definitions of post-truth. And this is because of the varied forms it has taken in different contexts in different areas. I will be focusing on how post-truth is realized in the Bastar area of Chhattisgarh and how citizenship journalism can be a possible solution to it. In my observation, I have found that the post-truth reportage of Bastar is based on two things. One is the fake news, and second is ignored news. The post-truth reportage is a lethal mix of fake news and ignored news. It does not facilitate a democratic construction of truth, but acts as a mouthpiece of the power. Fake news forms the face of this construction, which is based on ignorance of facts and stories. A falsified narration can stand strong when there are other voices that are being ignored. The nature of reporting in Bastar. Before we try to understand what is the nature of reporting in Bastar, we need to know what actually is there to be reported in Bastar. So there is an insurgency going on in Bastar for the past 50 years, more than 50 years, and that is the Naxal insurgency. There are two parties at stake, the Naxals and the police. The Naxals, they claim to fight for the Adivasis, and so does the police. But both have been accused of major human rights violations. The police, they try to control the media in order to control the narrative of Bastar, so that the human rights violations that are being caused are shut down. Also, there is a huge interest of corporates in the land of Bastar because it's highly rich in minerals. So, as per the report submitted by the Accountant General, 18 crores were invested in media, and this was reported by the Accountant General to the government of Chhattisgarh. According to another report by Ashutosh Bharadwaj, the government had asked channels to produce news for them. So why do they do that? It is because they want to control the narrative. It is because, and the mainstream media channels, they are doing it. So there are truths. There are two sides of truth. The one side is being ignored, and the other side is being shown, heightened and shown. So the ignorance of news plays a very vital part in the post-truth reportage of Bastar. There are many incidents which have happened which challenge this reporting of Bastar. One is the the stories of internally displaced people of Bastar. Only in the state of Narayanpur, or only in the district of Narayanpur in Chhattisgarh, there are around 600 to 800 families that are displaced. They are the families who used to live in the villages, uh, who were brutally beaten by the Maoists only because of mere suspicion of being involved with the police. The Maoist uh, had a suspicion that they were informers and had no hard evidence to prove it. But still, they killed many of them, and the other families members were forced to leave their uh, houses, their homes, and move to district headquarters. These stories are rarely reported by the mainstream media. Also, there is a reinforcement of Naxals as the enemy of the nation by the government and the mainstream media. Uh, this has its own problems. Um, this kind of brainwashing helps in hiding the other problems of the tactics that are being used by the police and the government in the area. So a news was reported where anti-Naxal commando unit called Danteshwari Ladake, where 30 women commandos um, were added to the force. And out of these 30 women commandos, 10 were surrendered Naxals, and the other 10 were uh, former members of an anti-insurgency force called Salvajudum. Now, this move was highly praised in media, but the problem is the ignored part of the news. The ignored part is the reality of Salvajudum. Salvajudum, the anti-insurgency, was started by a cooperation between a Congress leader named Mahendra Karma and the Raman Singh government. This insurgency gave weapons to common boys, common youth, and they created havoc in the villages inside the forest. They burnt uh, homes of the villagers, they ate their chicken and their livestock, they raped women. Many were forced to leave their villages and run into forest at night. Many of the families, they left Chhattisgarh and shifted to other states of Orissa and Andhra Pradesh. The very fact that these anti-insurgent elements were again reinstated into the mainstream media and then celebrated is a disturbing fact. Later, the Supreme Court of India declared the anti-insurgency as inconstitutional. Still, they were again reinstated into the mainstream, and the order of the Supreme Court was actually ignored. Now, what is the solution? Democratic journalism can be a possible solution to these problems of ignored news and post-truth reality. What is citizenship journalism? Citizenship journalism is when common people are encouraged to participate in journalism, when they are the ones who are providing the news, they are the ones who are producing the news. Now, with the advent of digitalization, people have Facebook. They can blog, they can make videos, but these are limited to a few population. Adivasis who live in jungle, they do not have such facilities. So, in the year 2004, Shubhranshu Chaudhary founded the CG Netswar, a Bluetooth radio, which used a phone number to create a digital media platform, a democratic media platform. So a number was given, and people who had basic phone could call this number, could give a missed call to this number, and they would receive a call from CGNet after a few moments, after which they could either press one and listen to all the recordings that have already been done by other people, or they could report their own stories. This was a major revolution. People were reporting pension problems, they were reporting land disputes, they were reporting unavailability of hand pumps. Also, last year during the COVID lockdown, this played a major role in helping the migrants who were stranded in many areas, some who did not receive ration. It was a great tool. Shubhranshu, in one of his interviews, stated that 60% of the calls that they received, the solution was provided to them. Now, the same model is used for the new peace process. The new peace process is a creation of the victims register based on a Colombian model where messages and testimonies are recorded by the victims, and a register is being formed which can be a proof of human right violation. A report states that around 5,000 testimonies have already been recorded in less than 1 month, and the stories revolve from internally displaced people, the stories of IDPs, to Naxal victims, to state victims, and these problems are very unique. So one of the stories was of a Naxal who left the party and wanted to live a normal life in his village. He started farming, and he did that for a year. But he was afraid that police might come and kill him because he was already a Naxal. The only escape, the only way he could save his life was to surrender to the police, and he did that. When he did that, he was forced. He was forced to join the police team, which they call the special police officers, the SPOs, and he was sent into the villages, into the forest, to bring back people. People is the word he uses. Logo ko bulana. We don't know if he was sent to bring Naxals or common people, because there have been cases where police have arrested many innocent villagers, suspecting them of being Naxals. And so first time he brought few people, next time he was asked to kill a few people and bring, then only he would get a job. And he did not do that, and still he does not have a job. The same narration is seen in one of the stories written in the death script by Ashutosh Bharadwaj, which follows a similar narration of a man who leaves Naxal, is forced to join police force, and then later is killed by his own comrades. My concluding remark would be, the position taken by the state and central government in Chhattisgarh is a defensive one. Government is using media to cover the many human rights violations that are being committed in the conflict zone every day by avoiding facts. Every day, innocent Adivasis are killed by Naxals and security forces. It thus gives a democratic media platform. Fertilize soil to plant its attack against post-truth reportage. The baseless reporting done to shield the government can be easily broken compared to propaganda reporting set on religion-based, caste-based discrimination. The post-truth reportage in Bastar is based on ignored news. It strives on suppressing voice. Citizenship journalism breaks open such bondage and provides voice to the voiceless. The stories of the democratic media platform are not reported stories, but stories spoken by the subject. A news agency trying to report on facts can be termed anti-national, but stamping around a million people anti-national is quite difficult. So I conclude that democratic journalism, journalism could be a solution to post-truth reportage in Bastar.